On Friday, November 15th, Netflix and Most Valuable Promotions bring you the highly anticipated heavyweight boxing mega event of the year. Jake El Gallo Paul will go toe-to-toe in the ring against Iron Mike Tyson, the baddest man on the planet. Don't miss this epic showdown from AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Watch Paul versus Tyson, now streaming only on Netflix.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Welcome to the Sportswoman Show. I'm your host, Gabby Hoffman. From gator hunting in the swamps of Florida to fly fishing in the cold water streams of the Mountain West, join us as we explore real human stories of women, from influencers to scientists to policymakers who are spending their lives in the outdoors. Let's begin. Wendy, welcome to the Sportswoman Show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so glad we were able to follow up from meeting at ICAST. I loved hearing about your story. I love the Northern Virginia connection, although you don't call Northern Virginia home anymore. But your story really fascinated me, so I wanted you to come on the show to talk about it. But for those who may be unfamiliar with your work or your participation in kayak angling, could you explain your background or share your story more?
Absolutely. So really quick, I grew up in Virginia, fishing with my dad on the Shenandoah River. We caught lots of small bass, perch, bluegill, which we always brought home to clean and eat. That was just like a lifestyle that I thought that everybody enjoyed. And then fast forward when I got married in 1999, moved to Florida. And then there's so much water in the state of Florida. So fishing became something that, kind of came back as a recreational thing. And then my son started getting into some tournament fishing. My husband's his boat captain. And then when COVID hit and boat ramps were closing down, I was just about to pull the trigger. I'm very competitive. I've always played competitive sports. I competed in fitness competitions. I'm a personal trainer. So I'm always trying to find a way to get out there and just, really test myself and become the best that I can be. So as I was researching being a co-angler in bass boat tournaments, COVID hit and shut down the boat ramps. So I had to find a way to get on the water. So I started researching kayak fishing because I knew that I could slide one of those in pretty much anywhere. And that's pretty much where my obsession started. That was 4 years ago.
What do you like about kayak fishing that stands out from, let's say, conventional fishing, whether it's on a boat or even fly fishing? Because kayak fishing, you could do both conventional and fly. But it is a challenge. I've tried to do kayak fishing myself. I love the challenge, but I need to do more of it to really get into the flow of things. But it's I wouldn't say a challenging form. It's a unique form of fishing, and it demands a lot of, acumen and focus. So what do you love about it compared to, let's say, conventional style of fishing?
I think my favorite part about it really fits my controlling personality is I get to make my own decisions. And being on a bass boat with my son and my husband, we always have to agree on where we're going to go, and they're watching their electronics closely. Where I grew up in nature, I like to use my senses, especially when fishing. I'm obsessed with sunsets and sun rises and, dolphins and things that happen on the water that no one else gets to witness. But mainly, I love that I can go where I want to go using my senses. That's how I grow in my fishing game and just figure it out on my own.
That's what kayak fishing does. I believe Tiffany Snooki Rish. She also does a lot of kayak fishing recreationally, and she's the one who started to get me into it and explain like what it is. And we've done it before where I didn't catch any fish, but I got the rope and I got the hang of things. Trying it out in one of our local waterways here in Virginia, I believe outside of forget what the National Wildlife Refuge is close to me, but one of them over there where there's public water access. But has there been any memorable fishing catches in your time doing kayak angling? Because I can imagine reeling in a big fish while kayak angling is very challenging. So has there been
Uh,
anything so far?
yes, yes. And being an adrenaline junkie too, kayak fishing is a whole level. You really feel the fish on your line. I mean, your vessel gets pulled around by big fish. And I'm telling you, I always say that the drug is in the tug. So we had this obsession, we talk about fishing all the time, but when you get big fish on the end of your line, even though it only happens once in like, a million casts, it will keep you coming back. So saltwater fishing is fantastic because there are some monsters out there. You never know what you're going to catch. I've had some 40-pound black drum on the end of my line. I've had a shark on the end of my line. And even freshwater. I mean, we grow some big bass down here in Florida. We have largemouth bass, and I'm so blessed that I was able to catch one that was over 10 pounds. And I really thought I had an alligator on because it just took my line to the bottom. It was vibrating. It wasn't even moving. It was just shaking. And I'm like, yeah, this
Wow.
is a gator, totally a gator. And it was a ginormous bass. But again, just dragging me around, I'm hooting and hollering, and I dream about it. I'll never forget it. It was great.
Do you have a saltwater species that you caught on the kayak that is equally memorable? Because I could imagine if you, have you hooked in a tarpon on the kayak yet?
I have, but I have not landed one yet. Those little boogers are very hard to keep on the hook. But actually, it's funny you mention that because I just got a PB, and it's another day that is just as special as my 10-pound bass. And it just happened like 2 weekends ago. And I'm trying to get the only other girl that does these tournaments with me is my good friend Amy Brown. She's another kayak angler. And I'm trying to get her into saltwater fishing too. And so we had gone out together, and really it's so much luck involved. You're casting and catching. We're catching some trout, some small snook, which is amazing. But I managed to find a bull redfish, which was probably 30 pounds, grab my bait. And so together, she got to watch me fight this thing. I didn't even know what it was. We're laughing, we're screaming, I'm yelling we're like the Hot Mess Express anyway on the water. But by the time we landed this fish, I was exhausted. I was so excited. She was taking pictures. She had her GoPro running. Beautiful, beautiful, just giant, giant redfish that I was just so grateful that I got to put my hands on and watch it swim away when I was done filming.
Incredible. No, those bull red drums are fantastic. I caught one. It's my personal best fish ever, regardless of fishing style. And they bite like crazy and they pull up a great fight. And I think I fought mine for like 5 minutes, and it was like 45 inches, I believe, 44 inches long. I did not weigh it. I don't recall the weight, but it was at least, it looked like it's half my size. This was
Yes.
in coastal Virginia, where the Chesapeake Bay meets the Atlantic Ocean in Norfolk.
Yeah,
Amazing
absolutely. Yeah.
confluence. Like we have, it's an underappreciated red drum fishery. And the captain I go with, Captain Sean Shapiro, is fantastic. I haven't gone in a couple years, but the one trip I did with him was really life-changing to catch that. And even in Florida with the big ones that are there, and even in Louisiana too, of course, huge, impressive fish. Like if that's not on people's bucket list to catch, it has to be.
Right? I totally agree. Yeah, I'll never forget it. And now I want to go back and do it again. So much fun.
Excellent. Speaking of tournament kayak fishing, talk about how that process has been, because I know women, compared to men, don't do so much of competitive fishing, but I feel like women are making more gains, or they are not being afraid to rock the boat in terms of doing tournament angling, and more of a space is being carved for women in these tournaments. So what has been your sense, and what has been kind of your experience tournament angling? Is it easy to participate in? Have there been some obstacles, roadblocks, or is it just becoming more acceptable for women to do these kind of tournament style events?
It is the best time to be a female angler. Let me just say that. So when I was first researching kayak fishing, I came across a couple of girls that were the elites, the tournament anglers of kayak fishing. I quickly realized that there was a group of women who started the Women's Fishing Federation that I joined immediately. So they have these annual conferences. They do instructional podcasts. So I've flown now to 4 states in the last 4 years to join up with these groups of women who provide me, so I'm always traveling, they provide me with the kayaks, the gear, the tackle, and they teach and we learn and we grow together and it's amazing. But honestly, women love being together and having the camaraderie and the friendships. And so once you have that, the whole fishing thing is a bonus. but it's so inspiring and it gave me so much confidence that I'm like, why wouldn't I start to compete? I love this so much. It's definitely my passion. I want to use these new skills that I've learned. What kind of arena can I do this in? And so my biggest suggestion is find a local club wherever you live. And that's what I did. I found actually 2 clubs here, the Florida Kayak Bass Trail and the Bassmaster Kayak Series right here in Florida. So I don't have to travel nationally. I'm not really ready for that type of platform yet. Being a mom, I don't want to leave home for, days and weeks at a time. But again, there's not many females that do it. But my experience has been so good. The guys that are in my club are so welcoming and they're so happy to see females joining. They want more females to come on. They're always so kind at the boat ramp. So what can I help you? Can I help you carry something? Have you been here before? Do you want some ideas on what baits to throw? I'm like, dude, we're competition. Like, you don't have to give me all this information, but they love it just as much as I do. And even though we're on the water, it is a competition. It's so much more about the friendships and the brother-sister relationships. I cannot even tell you how many new friends I've made that are just like brothers to me that have encouraged me. I feel safer in the water because I know that if I have a problem, there's, 40, 50 guys on the water that said, call me, I'll come get you, I'll come help you. Don't struggle, don't worry, don't be unsafe. We're here to support each other. We always have meetups after the tournaments where we do like a little fellowship and have some food, and it's a great, great time. It's just been so much fun. And I really want to encourage more and more women, especially young women, to get into it as well.
That's so encouraging. And I feel like that's been my experience with men in fishing. I've largely been made welcome. I haven't had any problems. My dad taught me how to fish, so he always told me, if any guy gives you a problem, they have to answer to me. And so I feel like I don't think a lot of men were backwards in their thinking. They also have daughters. They probably took their daughters out fishing. They have wives who like to fish. So I think it would be really self-defeatist if men were like, oh, we don't want you fishing with us. It's not your club. It's our club. So it would be self-defeating. You would then see fewer dollars coming into the industry, fewer conservation dollars. So I think compared to other industries, men know that you have to make it a welcoming place. Plus, you also want to be a safe harbor in case, like you said, any harm's way. You're out on the water, it's rough seas, or maybe there's some sort of threat by a wildlife creature or a person or something. And so knowing that someone nearby can be of help, a safe harbor, reassurance, that's largely what I would hope women take away from journeying into the fishing industry or greater outdoor industry, and know that men are very much welcoming, especially these days, and that they won't be shamed or, made to feel uncomfortable.
Yep, that is 100% true. I mean, like any other industry, you're going to have one or two, maybe. I honestly have never experienced that with all the guys that I have in the 2 different trails that I compete in. Just absolutely amazing people. We just have this common love of fishing. So we have this common respect. But one of the best things about being a female is these guys, they have wives, they have daughters, and they tell me, oh, you're so inspiring. My daughter now wants to get her a kayak. That makes my day because that's what it's all about. I mean, life is short. We have this big, beautiful green earth to get out and explore. You really get to see nature up close and personal, and there's just not a bad day on the water. So if you're safe, safety's got to be number one. You've got to wear a life jacket. You've got to have a whistle. You've got to have your flight plan so people know where you are. But I like to encourage women that you can go by yourselves. You have to be independent to a certain degree. And you can do it as long as you're safe. You don't have to have your husband or your boyfriend take you fishing. Like a lot of us kind of grew up, my dad took me fishing. But when I got old enough and I started driving, I started hooking the John boat up to the back of my truck, and I would go by myself because my dad was at work. And I was encouraged to do that because I knew how to be safe. And that's the biggest thing I would like to pass on, is that we really can do it on our own. But it sure is a heck of a lot of fun to go with a girl gang too.
Yeah, men or women, I like to fish with guys. I like to fish with my gal pals. I think it's a lot of fun. It adds dynamics. Sometimes you just need, some time to cool off with your best gal pals, or go with your dad, your significant other, whoever, on the other side, or fish with both, fish with guys and girls. It's a lot of fun. And I feel like fishing has become a very welcoming space because it's kind of an equalizing sport. You don't really need to be super strong. You don't have to have this crazy physique. everyone of all levels, of all ages, of all kind of physical statures, you can catch a fish. You have an equal playing field to catch a fish. You could be a petite little woman. I'm petite. I could catch the same size, if not bigger fish than some guys who might be towering over me 6 feet or whatever.
Yep.
That's why I feel like our industry hasn't really, created obstacles to him, nor should it, because anyone can catch a fish. It's at your disposal. You can easily do it, and you just need a rod and a reel, the right test pound, and all that, and the right conditions, and you can land the fish of a lifetime, big or small. I feel with that. So it really doesn't put so much of pressure onto women to have to feel like they have to compete with men. Like you said, it's the same team. You all love fishing. We all love fishing. We want to catch fish. We want to have fun on the water. We want to see stuff, even if we don't successfully catch fish. Because I've had many days, especially as a fly angler, where I don't catch fish. I may spot some, bear, or I may spot some eagles. I may spot some really cool thing, a beautiful sunset, sunrise, what have you. So we have to take in all into account. And I think that's what sometimes we forget as anglers, that it's not just about the catch. The catch is an added bonus, but it's everything. It's all encompassing. The sounds you hear, the people you're with, the environmental surroundings, the wildlife you may see.
Yep, it's everything. And like you said, it's one of the few sports that it truly is an equal ground. And that's what makes it so, I think, welcoming. And it was maybe a misconception over the prior years, but since I've gotten into it in 2020 on a competitive level, I mean, it seems like the companies and the sponsors, they're much more welcoming than they used to be when it comes to women, because it's a whole new platform. It's a whole door of people that can come in, and it's really not even a competition. That's what I love about this. Women can cheer on other women to be just as successful as we are. We want more women to rise up and get sponsors and be the girl on the poster that's, showing off the new bait, because all that's doing is making our sport grow. And that the young people are the future of the sport. So we want to make sure that it gets out there and that it's truly a sport for everyone.
A woman might be listening to our interview now, Wendy, and say, this is so exciting. I do some kayak fishing. I want to get into tournaments. What do you recommend women outside of Florida even do if they want to kind of traverse this path?
Like I said, a couple of things. First of all, look up the Women's Fishing Federation, because we are in every state pretty much, and even other countries. You will connect instantly. You can become a member and just receive newsletters. You can join all the social channels and follow the girls. And, like I said, we do weekly, sometimes bi-weekly, little Facebook Lives and instructional videos. But really just making those connections, starting those friendships and relationships. And then again, if you're really ready to take it to the next level, even if you're not like a great angler, it does not matter. Find a local club that, you can meet some people and get out in the water. And, it's a whole different science on the tournament scene when you're using these measuring boards and you got to use the app and your phone. I mean, it's definitely, a lot more than just catching the fish. But if you like that thrill of, competition and making new friends, then definitely give it a try. But the Women's Fishing Federation and finding a local club in your area would be my two biggest suggestions.
That's solid advice. And I need to do better at kayak fishing, because I love kayaking standalone and I love fishing. So I need to at some point master it when I have some downtime. Wendy, if women listening to the program want to connect with you, where would you like to direct them to?
I usually use two platforms. I use my Facebook, which has my maiden name. So it's Wendy McIntyre Biles. That's on Facebook. And then my Instagram is Wendy Biles Fishing. And I try to share the good, the bad, the ugly. No one claims to be an expert. I certainly would never say I'm some sort of a pro. I'm just a chick that loves to fish. I mean, every weekend I am on the water. My family's the same way. I like to capture funny moments. I love people that have a sense of humor. So my videos is very raw and real, but hey, I can catch some fish sometimes too. And I love to post about that. So, and please, anybody can reach out to me and ask questions. And people that come to Florida, my husband just finished building me a double kayak trailer. I'm on the Old Town Pro staff. So that's my kayak of choice. And I'd love to take you out sometime. So come to Florida, hit me up, and we'll go out fishing together.
I need to come back again. I have a lot of friends down there, and they're clamoring to have me back down there. I may come in December. I may do some duck hunting. Maybe we could fit in some fishing depending upon what region of the state you're going to be in. But no, I appreciate the offer. That's a great piece of advice. And I think women also, like I said, they have to see how multifaceted fishing is. And even for guys too, because it's not just about the catch. Like, you're going to capture funny raw moments. You're going to have the losses. One of my favorite social media moments, Wendy, was I was fishing in Florida on my 30th birthday a couple years ago, and a crocodile had seen a lily pad where a bass got entangled, and it tried to chew at it and take a bite. And then my videographer was recording it in real time, and I had no idea she was filming. And I was like, oh no, I lost it. And then I start laughing because it's just funny. I don't know. And just losing the bass. Like, I was like, you can be angry and disappointed, but I was like, no, I'm just going to laugh it off, because it's like you're interacting with Florida wildlife, a Florida gator, and it wants to eat your bass. But the bass was even smart to outmaneuver me and also the gator. So it's like those funny moments are great. So that's a solid piece of advice. And is there anything else you want to impart or share before we conclude our interview?
Like I said, just, you can start with the very basics. You can start with the cheapest kayak out there. Just find a way, whether it be fishing from the bank, fishing from a dock, if you're comfortable in a kayak. Like I said, safety first. Make sure you have on your PFD first and foremost, but get out there and just start doing it. There's no reason to wait. And again, reach out to me, reach out to some of the girls that are on their social media channels. You will get sucked right in. You will feel welcomed. And I think it will be just a wonderful, fun pastime.
Solid words of advice. Wendy, this has been such a pleasure, and I know we'll stay in touch, and we will make sure to include all the resources you point to, and I hope it leads to more women doing kayak angling. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Sportswoman Show. Your support is so crucial. Take a moment right now if you can and help us out by hitting the subscribe button on your podcatcher of choice, leaving a review, sharing with your friends, and engaging with us on social media. We also need guest ideas. If you have a suggestion on a strong outdoor woman we need to talk to, shoot our producer an email at cody@troutstreamstudios.com.